Mga historiador, sumakit ang tiyan sa katatawa matapos sabihin ng US Vice President na magaling na pinuno si Cory sa edad na 20. Harris na fact-check at binansagang Lenny ng Amerika dahil napag-alamang 40 anyos na si Cory nang makilala dahil sa panghihimasok sa politika. Magandang araw bayan, magandang araw Pilipinas. Panibagong araw na naman at meron na naman tayong pag-uusapan. Ngunit bago ang lahat, kung hindi ka pa nakakapag-subscribe sa aming channel, please do subscribe and hit the notification bell para mas maging updated ka sa mga newly released naming videos. Lenny at Harris, parehong Vice President, parehong lumulutang. Ito ang naging mainit-init na panunupalpal ng mga Marcos Royalist vloggers sa Vice Presidente ng Amerika matapos nitong idawit ang tunay na diktador, Cory Aquino, bilang isa sa mga dakilang babaeng lider ng bansa. Ayon pa kay Vice President Kamala Harris, 20 anyos pa lamang daw si Cory noon nang maging popular sa larangan ng pamumuno at inihalintulad niya pa nga ito kina Jose Fallanis Escoda at Concepcion Calderon. Ngunit ayon sa pananaliksik ng mga pro-government vloggers, napag-alamang dekada 80 na nang magsimula itong maging tanyag. Narito ang kanyang statement at ang pamamakcheck ng mga vloggers sa kanya.
So, I'm going to mention 3 women. Josefa Escoda, Concepcion Calderon, and Cory Aquino, who were all in their 20s. In their 20s, when they started becoming known in their role of leadership. And so part of what you must remember is that there are people who came before you, who charted a course for you then to pick up the mantle. And the way that I think about it is, you know, like relay racing. You know, you race and someone passes the baton and then, right?
What can we expect from her? She's a Democrat, a party allied with the Yellows and Pinks. Para sa akin, walang delikadesa at courtesy si Vice President Harris. She should have considered that the current Philippine president is President Bongbong Marcos, the son and namesake of the president whom Corazon Aquino deposed. In an interview, US Vice President Kamala Harris claims that the late Cory Aquino of the Philippines became very well known as a political figure in her 20s. This is actually inaccurate. Cory Aquino was born January 25, 1933, and she started her political career after becoming the President of the Philippines in 1986, meaning she was already in her early 50s. So nga, ito yung Lenlen ng US version. Cory Aquino was born in 1933. She wasn't known until in the 80s. Now, do the math. That means that she was already in her late 40s na. According to Kamala Harris, Cory Aquino was in her 20s when she started becoming known and her role in leadership. Bubita person US version talaga. Baka natuto pa lang siyang magmajong noong 20 siya. Samantala, narito naman ang kabuuang video na siyang nagpahalakhak sa mga matatalinong historians.
Well, I start from the belief that you can judge the status of democracies, judge the status of societies based on the status of women. And certainly based on the status of women and girls. That is my approach. That is how I think about it. I think about it in the context of understanding the capacity, but also understanding the struggles, understanding the accomplishments, but also understanding the disparities. But always I approach this from a perspective of believing that anything and everything is possible as long as we have the courage and ability to articulate what is wrong and what the solution looks like. And thankfully, on so many of the issues where there are disparities and inequities, the solutions don't require that much creative thought. The solutions are really quite at hand in terms of what we know anecdotally, what we know because we have studied these issues, we've debated these issues, and we've lived these issues. Well, one of the issues for women around the globe, and in particular entrepreneurs, but women around the globe, is access to capital. And that is one of the ways that we must be very targeted in our approach to measure and assess whether women have equal opportunity to have access to capital to start a business, for example, equal access to banking systems, equal access to financial literacy. All of those things that are absolutely critical to being able to then have a good idea, have a vision, have a dream, and then through hard work implement it and get it going in a way that invariably will benefit their family, their community, and all of society will benefit. You know, on the issue of the economic well-being of women, I think we all know, and I feel very strongly, you lift up the economic status of a woman, her family will be lifted, her community will be lifted, all of society will benefit. Lift up the economic status of women and all of society benefits. But then the question becomes, well, okay, how do we get there? Access to capital is one. We talked about human rights previously. So among the rights that I believe that people have is the right to be free from violence, to be free from fear. Those things that will be an impediment to growth, to success, to having dreams, to having vision. So when we connect these issues, there is the connection between what should be a human right to live free from fear, to live in a safe situation that allows one to then thrive around things like having an idea, being innovative, to the point of the person who asked the question, to be able to start something and grow it. There is a real correlation also between violence against women and gender violence and the economic status of women. And the reality of it is that women will endure almost any abuse if it means keeping a roof over the head of their children and being able to feed them. But if that choice doesn't have to be made because she has an individual opportunity to achieve economic well-being, it is less likely she will be or remain in an environment or a situation that otherwise causes her harm.
Why is it important to have women participate in the political process and serve in leadership positions?
It's so important. One of the ways that I think about a role of leadership, be it in elected office or in business or in the variety of ways that one can lead, is to understand that we will all still, sadly, at this phase of the world, likely be the first or the only in a room. And it is important to know that the responsibility that we have is to not be the last and to chart a course where others can follow. One, know that you stand on the shoulders of people who came before you, who have charted the course to do what you are doing as young leaders. So I'm going to mention 3 women: Josefa Escoda, Concepcion Calderon, and Cory, who were all in their 20s. In their 20s, when they started becoming known in their role of leadership. And so part of what you must remember is that there are people who came before you, who charted a course for you then to pick up the mantle. And the way that I think about it is, you know, like relay racing. You know, you race and someone passes the baton and then, right? So that's what life is. It's basically a relay race. And so the people who are heroes, whichever gender they are, They ran their part of the race, and then they passed us a baton. And the question is, what will we do with the time we carry the
Anong masasabi niyo ukol rito, mga kababayan? Just comment it down below sa comment section and give a massive thumbs up kung nagustuhan mo ang paksang ating tinalakay. At huwag kalilimutang mag-subscribe sa channel na ito. Maraming salamat sa inyong walang sawang panonood.